Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everything else and in between, for the grand finale of the F2 Iron Tournament. I've seen a few of you in the viewer count, at least. Nobody in the chat saying hello just yet, but view the viewer count for early arrivals. I have done like the app ping for everyone now, just because I wanted to make sure both the players were present. It looks like we are actually already into the map draft, no hanging around here. So, grand finals, it's going to be a best of 9 between Saymyname, our #1 seed, and TakeawayBongo, our #2 seed. These two players did face up already before in the winners final, and that was best of 7 series that Saymyname took. I believe it was 4-2 in Saymyname's favour, if I remember correctly. He's banned Sahara, and Saymyname's banned Inside Out, but yep. Bongo dropping down to the losers bracket, but then it did manage to win 4-1 against Unrestricted in the losers final to get back into the winners final, and here he is again. And Inland has been picked as the first map. Saymyname usually goes for them as more open maps. Plateau has been picked up straight away with Sahara banned. I feel like there's probably a good chance that Oasis gets picked as well. Hello, hello, Naz. And yeah, Bongo, I feel like, has a little bit more of a preference for the hybrid maps, where Saymyname usually prefers the more land maps. But yeah, Continental, very highly played map this tournament. Plateaus, I think, has only had maybe 1 game, possibly 2. Ocean Ring by Saymyname, so actually Ocean Ring, Saymyname picking one of those water maps himself. And again, for anyone who isn't aware, Highland will be the first map, and it's then the loser of each map then gets to choose which the next map is from the map pool. Gold Mountain, but taken by Bongo. Inside Out, like I said, is banned, but that does leave Citadels in the pool. So we'll see if that makes an appearance, or if it will stick. Yep, Oasis, there we go. That's something I did expect a little bit more from Saymyname. And what maps we got? Coastal, which a few players have picked in the past. Rivers has become a little bit more popular recently. Desert Ridge, though, is the pick from Bongo. And are we going to see Citadels as the last map pick, or are we going to have neither of the closed maps? Obviously, we have Dark Forest that's kind of there in the map draft. It has been picked a couple of times, but as far as I'm aware, there's been 0 Dark Forest games. I'm pretty sure there's been 0 Dark Forest games. And Muddy Waters, which we did see come up in the Bongo versus Unres series on Sunday, I believe that was. So, yeah, some pretty, like I said, more of the open maps from Saymyname with the extra added Ocean Ring, one of my favourite maps there. More traditional Inland Continental for just Age of Empires 1 classic maps there. But then Gold Mountain and Desert Ridge as well. Let's get ourselves into the Civ draft. And for this best of 9 series, there will be no bans. Both players are given the Shang for free. So the Shang isn't in the draft, but both players are just given it. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. These first 2 picks are still blind, so it's possible that we see the same Civs being drafted. But yeah, just because there aren't that many civilizations in the game, so in a best of 9 we can't really have any bans, otherwise we'd run out of civs. It is possible for all the civs to be picked here, although if they pick the same civ, we will have 1 civ left over. Let's see what the go-to is. Minoans and Latvia. I was going to say, I feel like Minoans would be quite highly contested just because they're so strong in the water, but Bongo deciding that he wants the Latviat, so it's not really surprising these 2 being the top contested picks. And we've got a lot of different maps here, but no closed maps, so things like the Hittites, Egyptians, maybe falling down the pick order a little bit, Yamato, yeah, things like Carthaginians, Phoenicians, Persians, maybe Romans as well, probably going to be high up in the order. And yeah, when there's no closed maps, it makes it, oh, Hittite still picked up by Bongo pretty early on. They can still be playable on some of the water maps, just because of their extra range. But yeah, Carth as well. I feel like Hittites are kind of behind like the Minoans, the Yamato, the Phoenicians on water for sure though for me. And then after that point, you can maybe start making arguments for the Hittites. The Greeks do have like the faster moving ships, which can be a nice bonus as well. Assyrian's being picked up pretty early by Saymyname. I feel like he sometimes does lean onto that civilization a little bit more. Just for how many open maps we have, I'm a little bit surprised in Persian, okay, Macedonians as well. I'm a little bit surprised by that being picked quite early. But yeah, I would have thought there'd been a little bit more priority on Persians in this draft, and that does get picked now. Phoenicians as well, solid pick. So yeah, again, a little bit surprised with the Hittites, but so far the rest of the civs here, pretty solid in my eyes for Bongo. Yamato and obviously Minoans, very good civs as I've said before. I'm not so keen on the Macedonians and Syrians. So what we got left, we got the Romans and probably the Palmyrans and maybe Egyptians is what I'd be looking at here. So yeah, Romans does get picked up. And Egyptians, there we go. But yeah, the rest of the civs, I mean, yeah, Chosen's still in the draft as well. So yeah, Bongo sweeping that up pretty quickly. And I think Palmyrans and maybe Greeks. I'm not sure. Not Sumerians. It's basically what I'm feeling here. Babylonians can still have some power in some points of the game. Sumerians, so yeah, that leaves the Greeks for Bongo. And he's random into that well-leveled over civ. So like I said, we get all the civs being drafted here because we did have the mismatched pick at the start. And it's interesting to see the Minoans prioritised by Saymyname, but not by Bongo there. And yeah, when we got 3 water maps, I feel like Minoans is, because like I feel like Minoans is like quite a bit further ahead of the other civs once you get to sort of like the late Tool Bronze Age on the water maps. Whereas Latviat, obviously they do have that very aggressive start to the game, but that's, you can match that with civs like the Persians, and obviously both players get the Shang as well. So for me, Minoans is a little bit more of a standout, so I think I prefer Saymyname picking that first. That said, again, the Macedonians and Syrians, I'm not, as I said many times before, I'm not a huge fan of either of these civs, so I feel like, generally speaking, I kind of think I prefer Bongo's draft just very slightly. It's not a huge edge, and obviously if we get to the deeper end of the series, that's when civs matchups might be becoming a little bit more complicated. I'm just reminding the players. I did try to remind them that they both get Shang for free, but Saymyname asking again anyway. But yes, so it is a best of 9, but Saymyname will start with 1 game win. Casual foe bias. Yeah, well, I think it's not as much to do with Phoenicians. It's just more the Macedonians and the Syrians being picked quite early. I still do quite like the Romans and Egyptians. I also quite like the Palmyrans, and I think the Greeks can be pretty good against some of the weaker civs, just because once you get to the hoplite, that hoplite is very hard to answer for some of the weaker civs in the game that don't have like a good ranged option to punish that. Yeah, I can't remember if he's chosen Macedonians before. I know he does tend to pick up Assyrians now and again. I feel like Macedonians tends to be more of a last one. I can't remember exactly. But yes, as I said, Saymyname will start with a 1-game lead as the winner of the winners bracket, having not lost so far this tournament. Bongo coming up from the lower bracket will have a little bit of extra work to do. Every set, fair enough. Yeah. Just not sticking out in my brain as much. You're probably right though. Because I know Macedonians tends to be sort of like a later pick from Rez. I know he tends to pick that in the later stages of the draft. Knows both players get Shang for free, Katie. You're a little bit late. Just because like there's like an odd civ, because there's 17 civs in the game. So we just, for the sake of a bit more fairness, we just give Shang for both players, just because there's no ban in the best of 9. Okay then. So, players look to be just sorting out the server they're playing on for the time being. Usually it ends up being the Central India server for plays between Europe and Vietnam, which obviously Bongo are Dutch player and Saymyname Vietnamese. Actually, maybe let's have a look here. What would be the best server? Maybe West US might be slightly better, actually, that said, looking at this. Looking at the pings they've linked through. A little more even. But yeah, players will just sort out the lobby soon. Well, I think the thing was, it's like, if we left Shang in the draft, it's almost, well, not completely certain, but it'd be very likely that both players would want to pick the Shang. So, like, I think it's just something we've done in the past before, as most people agree that Shang is just kind of the best overall civ in the game. So we just chose because of that. But yeah, I mean, arguably you could say it'd be better to give them both the worst civ in the game, because then, like, there's a little bit, I don't know. There's different ways we could do it, but that's the one we settled with the last few tournaments we've done. Again, just because we don't have, for best of 9, like what we've seen here, like literally all the civs have been drafted. Just because we don't have that many civs in AoE1. Which is kind of why I prefer usually to have just like the best of 5 series, just because like it feels a little bit weird when like literally all the civs are being played. But obviously because it's a final, we want there to be some more games played, so if one of the players does have just like one bad game with a little bit of unlucky map or whatever, then that's not like the deciding factor by itself. My AoE2 Rex actually appears to not be working properly. Hopefully that will sort itself out in a moment. Okay, there we go. I can see the games now, although they've not started the lobby yet. I think they're just a little bit not sure what server they want to play on at the moment. Sort of trying to decide where, like I said, we're going. Hello, Barbarin. Yeah, it's the grand finale. I'm not sure how many people are going to be able to tune in and view at this time of day, just because obviously for Europe it's still centre of the day, and obviously it's very early for North America as well, the Americas as well. So I'm not sure how many players from those regions will have, or viewers from those regions will have live. Because I've had to do some extra hours other days this week to get the afternoon off from work to cast it live, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was here to do it live. So it's all real time, all in the moment, for you guys to enjoy. And not seeing the server just yet. So again, I think they're just last couple of things to sort out for the players, and then we'll get ourselves into game one, which, like I said, will be Highland. So just to look at the map draft again for anyone that's not only just come into the stream. We've had Sahara and Inside Out banned, and Citadels hasn't been picked. So we don't have any of the more closed maps. Obviously sometimes some of these maps can be a little bit more closed depending on the spawns. Maps like Desert Ridge, you can occasionally get very enclosed starting bases with the wood lines. So that can happen on Gold Mountain as well, but it's a lot rarer on that map, I'd say. But then we obviously got the Muddy Waters, which again we saw in the series TakeawayBongo versus Unrestricted, and Plateau is being picked up first by Saymyname. Both these maps lesser seen so far this tournament, and I feel like Gold Mountain's been picked quite a lot, but then not many series have lasted long enough for the map to actually be played. But yeah, Continental, Inland and Oasis all quite contested maps. I feel like Oasis has actually been banned, or maybe it's been Sahara's been banned quite a lot and Oasis has been picked. These two maps, they're probably the most open two maps in the game. Plateaus can also be pretty open, and occasionally Muddy Waters can as well. But yeah, we'll see how it's played out. And again, for anyone just looking at the Civ draft here, both players do start with the Shang as well, which is why neither player has the Shang and it's not anything here. And Saymyname will start with a 1-game lead for being the winner of the winners final. And looks like custom map pool. Oh, okay, there we go. Bongo set up the lobby now. It's currently hovering Muddy Waters, which will not be the map just yet. We might get there later. Making sure they have the data mod as well. Saymaneme's not too happy with the pings. Obviously, we want the settings to be as fair as possible for this final. And yeah, just make sure. I had to point out to put the data mod on again as well. We are there now. But yeah, I guess we can have a quick look at the bracket whilst we're waiting, just to see how the players got to the final. Obviously, like I said, Saymyname just storming his way. I mean, not completely uncontested, but fairly convincingly through the winners bracket, facing off against Genie in the first round. Unrestricted, sorry, in the winners semi-finals. These, this is the winners finals. Ignore the the challenger tags here. Yeah, so Unrestricted dropping down, who again did manage to advance on to the losers final, but got knocked out by Bongo there. But yeah, winners final 4-2 in favour of Saymyname. Bongo dropping down, and like I said, he dropped down to play against Unrestricted, who had made like a decent lower bracket run, but unfortunately couldn't get that last win he needed to get up into the final. But yeah, Vertex, our 4th place player. The top 4 places have a bit of a prize pool, so yeah, Vertex in 4th, Unrestricted in 3rd, and today's match is going to decide who gets the big prize pot for the 1st place and who's going to take a still very well earned 2nd place, but obviously both players could be wanting to win this series. Looks like both players are in the lobby now, and should be getting ourselves into game 1 of the Earth to Iron final. Fairly shortly. They have added a little spectator delay, but that should give us a chance to have a look at the civilizations they pick for the first map. With so many, yeah, it's going to be hard to navigate. Again, like, one of the things I like about having one closed map in the series is like it makes it a little bit more obvious where the civs are going to be played. So obviously with Ocean Ring, Inland and Continental, you'd expect the water civs to be played out there. It's the same name with Minoan's Yamato, but then not really a third obvious water map civ. Obviously your Continentals you can still play just the land game, so maybe you could argue something like the Romans would get pulled in there. But yeah, Bongo with the Phoenicians and Persians and the Carthaginians can be used on those, like Carthaginians and Continental has been quite a common place thing. Phoenicians just with the wood bonus, pretty good on the water maps, and Persians do have that faster firing bonus, although the Hittites again, so maybe the Hittites is for one of the water maps as well. And it looks like, yep, we do have the game launched now. I think we're going to be into spectator delay, but I'll get us in anyway. And yeah, you're right, yeah, here we go. So we got the countdown now to game 1, ladies and gentlemen, once again. So we're going to have the Palmyrans against the Macedonians. So yeah, Mace do seem to appear quite a few times on the Highlands. I feel like it's Mace and Chosen tend to have a lot of Highlands appearances as like what I like call the throwaway civ, to just like throw a civ into there just to get the game started with and maybe save those stronger civs to later in the draft. But that said, Saymyname did pick Macedonians fairly early on in his draft, relatively speaking. Palmyrans, I think, was a bit of a later draft from Bongo, but as I've said, I do quite like the Palmyrans on the current patch. I think they're a little bit slept on. They have been being played quite a bit more recently, but I still think they're being picked a little bit later in draft than maybe they should be. Just their faster, more efficient working villager bonus, just very, very strong if you can survive like the early part of the game. It just feels like that bonus is, well, I said in my review video of the patch and stuff of for this tournament that I feel like the Palmyrans bonus is kind of broken, like a little bit too strong. It's just that it's the early game phase, the Palmyrans are still punishable, which is kind of what keeps the civ balance, but I just feel like they're almost completely unmatched in the later phases of the game. But anyway, 5 seconds to go now until the games begin. We can start the grand final of the Earth to Iron tournament. So I will now mute the music and let us get in to game 1. Let me show you. I want to be able to see the chat. That'd be good too. And so let me just quickly update casting to best of 9. I probably should have done that before the series began, but oh, here we are. And so, like I said, Saymyname on the Macedonians. That's a little bit of a strange granary up against the wood line, but fair enough. I guess, yeah, it's kind of the spawn of the berries wasn't too great for him there. And Bongo, meanwhile, on the south side of the map with the Palmyrans. Actually, he's got a similar spawn himself with the berries quite close to the wood line. But yeah, quite closed wood lines around the base here. So potentially one of those slightly rarer Highlands maps where it is a little bit more wallable. You can see the front of the base a bit more open. Saymyname already to the center of the map. He's actually found one of the outer elephants as well as the two central elephants. That's one of the big advantages of the Macedonian is you get that extra line of sight, which obviously helps a lot with the exploration early on. So he's going to grab 3 elephants straight away from the center of the map. Bongo not going off to search himself. Palmyrans are probably maybe the worst civ for contesting the center of the map just because of the villagers costing that 75 food instead of 50. You really need all your villagers collecting food straight away at the start of the map to keep that idle TC time as low as possible, so you can't really afford to send a villager to the center of the map there. So Saymyname does actually have a little bit more idle time, interestingly, but he's going to have the nice advantage of 3 elephants to start him off with, which obviously just means you have much more of a food stockpile before you have to switch into those farms late in the game. Howdy hey, Popeye. Good like a champ. Oh, you do software development? Is that where you work in? Didn't know that. But yeah, Saymyname now just doing some extra exploration. A classic 1 tile miss on the elephant. That's going to be maybe, possibly he may miss that now because he may not think to search this area. So despite the Macedonian bonus, like I said, he's done the classic 1 tile miss. Bongo in the meantime has done a little bit of exploration, but it looks like he's probably going to settle for pushing the Gazelle. And Gazelle quite next to the wood line there for Saymyname, so possibly he'll just think about maybe trying to squeeze in a storage pit on this side. Will be a little bit more vulnerable at the front. But yeah, Saymyname again with a pretty easily wallable base here. You can easily imagine just like closing, I mean, how much exploit, yeah, he has seen that, so it'd be very easy to close up that gap, close up the gap there because he has explored that, and get walls and just give himself this corner of the map. He won't have, yeah, gold slightly forward in that situation, which gold is going to be very important for the Macedonians. Oh, there's gold at the back, actually, I've just noticed. But yeah, the Macedonian is one of the civs that don't get access to the chariot units, and villager coming forward as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Well, I imagine, yeah, so the storage pit is going up there, but I imagine Saymyname usually tries to play this map very aggressively. So I don't know if we'll see the walls or if we'll just see the standard just watchtower defense on the wood line. But yeah, Bongo now sending a villager forward as well, going up on 16 vills, so like a little bit by Palmyran standards, quite an aggressive build. And Saymyname a little bit off his target at the moment, but he's going to find himself an artifact, start honing in. And Bongo feeling confident with that barracks placement, get that down pretty quickly, yeah, but he's given himself, because yeah, Saymyname on the more standard 20 vil up. Bongo's going to be up to the tool age a lot quicker. And we'll see if he can use that to his advantage. The villager from Saymyname, I guess just kind of waiting for that last bit of wood to come in. 150 wood for the barracks. So he can place it down now, and it does so. It's interesting he didn't try to have more of a look. I guess he's got the artifact coming round. But yeah, second barracks already coming up for Bongo. Quick house. I think that was literally just for the sake of population. I don't think that was actually a quick wall to block the clubman, but obviously Bongo will see the clubman now. I don't know why he's pulled so many villagers here. If the intention was to right-click the clubman, he actually misclicked on the house. Axe upgrade already coming in, armor already in. Saymyname going to be a little bit bothered because he can't get the needlework upgrade yet, because obviously he's not into the tool age. So these clubbers are already going to be able to do a lot of work. Needlework going to need to be researched straight away. Axe upgrade already in. Yeah. Actually, no needlework clicked. Okay, they're coming in now. One villager already down. Quite a few villagers already pretty heavily damaged. And a lot of idle TC time cores. And now needlework is in, but the archer range is already down. And Saymyname, not going to have an immediate answer to this. He's still committed to double barracks forward. And he's just completely evacuated the home base here. Bongo trying to track him down. But obviously not going to know exactly where his opponent has gone. Axer upgrade nearly in for Saymyname. No storage pit upgrades. Obviously doesn't have the food spare. And I'm not exactly sure. Saymyname does have the wood available for... Excuse me, hiccups. It does have the wood available for a storage pit. So that's maybe what he's going to try and do. Maybe he's going to try and find his opponent's berries. Both of Bongo's berries right at the back though. And Bongo doing a similar play and just completely running off with the vills. So 3 vills killed by Bongo. And again, these are Palmyran vills, so even though Saymyname is at 1 vill, Bongo is still effectively ahead here. But yeah, for just full villager march, this is one of the oddities of like when both players go forward with their military buildings, they just have no military buildings at home to build any defensive units with. And this village is going to go down fairly easily, and that's a 4th one. Evening up the villager count, but again, those Palmyran villages much more effective than pretty much, well, yeah, every other civ in the game. So the storage pit does go up. I feel like I said, I feel like Saymyname was probably looking for Bongo's other berries, but those berry patches spawn both at the back there. And this game 1. Sorry, Saymyname does start with a 1-game lead as well, so I'll just add that in. Despite the fact this is game 1, but yeah, just for anyone that's just joined, that's for Saymyname's reward for winning the winners bracket. Axe's maybe going to find a handful of the villagers here. Will Bongo notice that? Looks like he didn't notice. So Saymyname getting away with that, but that said, Axe is still en route to find this storage pit. And okay, Saymyname does have another storage pit in the middle there. I was going to say he doesn't have enough wood to build another storage pit just yet. And that artifact, not quite spying, but yeah, Archer is going to spot this storage pit now. So these 2 villagers probably going to bite the dust. Looks like Saymyname did manage to pick up a villager himself, but that's 6 villagers down for Saymyname himself. And yeah, very, very messy game 1. Yeah, both players pretty much on 0 food at this point. But yeah, the berries running out here. And 1 villager is going to find Saymyname, which is pretty bad for him here, as Bongo is probably going to be able to wheel the army round and potentially punish this. Axe is still with no storage pit upgrades for Saymyname. Bongo with the +2/+2 on his axeman. And I mean, both players still have stone in the bank, but don't really have the food to afford either of the granary upgrades or researchers. But yeah, Bongo does find some of Saymyname's. Did Bongo delete his TC? Yeah, Bongo must have. Yeah, Bongo just deleted his TC there, so that he could just rebuild it elsewhere. So it kind of feels like we've had a bit of a base swap here, with Bongo re-establishing himself on the north side of the map. Saymyname still does have his TC here. Hasn't really had enough food to do much, and yeah, looks like I missed a moment there. The villagers get taken out. I feel like there was already. Let me just rewind. Apologies. I'm trying to keep track of everywhere. Okay, no. Saymyname did evacuate. Oh, the villagers down here. Okay, that's where those villagers went. Ooh, okay. So I was going to say you did find the berries. Yeah, I think this kind of spells doom, unfortunately, for Saymyname, with Bongo with 13 military units. Oh, actually, no. Saymyname does find the new TC. That's 11 villagers forced idle. 11 villagers probably can fight off against this many axemen. There's also a bowman here as well. But where is Bongo's army? It's currently axing down barracks here. And yeah, Bongo bringing back a couple more bowmen here. But yeah, I think Bongo being on 16 military units means he just has complete command over the game. Obviously, he can't just like zap the army around, so it's not impossible that Saymyname manages to find a pocket of villagers somewhere. But I think as long as Bongo kind of defends this point here with a handful of archers, he's probably got this game wrapped up at this point. Yeah, Saymyname pop capped as well. He does have the wood to build some new houses. And he's trying to build an extra villager. Maybe it might be worth Saymyname deleting his town centre as well. But yeah, here we go. Villagers get taken out by the bowmen. So another one does go down. So that's how many? 6 of Saymaname's 13 villagers kind of being caught out here. And I think villagers are very slightly faster than bowmen, but Bongo's probably just going to be able to chase this to the ends of the earth. And yeah, just a handful of units from Saymyname still roaming around, but I think, like I said, it's almost certain that Bongo takes this game at this point. Like I said, he's had what I hesitate to call a villager lead for some time, just given that we haven't really been adding to the villager count in some time. Yeah, in fact, yeah, Bongo still hasn't, because he was on 16 vills, has lost the 2. Axes do come in, but yes, another bowman still in defense. And again, just need to work on these villagers, meaning that 3 axes by themselves aren't too much of a threat. And yeah, but some other bowmen being brought in, you're going to be able to kill off most of the villagers here. Saymyname going to be forced potentially down onto 1-digit villagers again, unless this one just about manages to get out of the range. And okay, no, down it goes. 9 vills, and yes, TakeawayBongo on 25 military units, and see what he sees. Okay, those are the ruins there. And yeah, picking up the last couple of axes. I'm a little bit surprised Saymyname's playing this game out from this point. Surely he realizes he must be very behind. Or just managed to kill another villager somewhere. Did see a 3rd kill coming. Oh, here we go. Some bowmen have been made by Saymyname. So yeah, Saymyname's still giving it a shake. He's got some wood and an amount of food to play with. I don't know where he's collecting food from at this point. Oh, he's found an elephant on the top side here. Yeah, it could just be a warm-up game, like you say. Might just be getting the fingers working. But like I said, I feel like this game has been done for some time now. So it kind of just feels like this game lasts basically as long as Saymyname wants it to at this point. Bongo did add in an extra villager. Nearly has the food to be able to get up to Bronze Age at this point. Oh, okay, actually, so bowmen do catch out the villagers here. One more villager does go down. Like I said, Bongo can't have his military everywhere, so it's possible for this to happen. But that said, I feel like, I mean, both players can't see what each other have, but Bongo should have an awareness of how many villagers he's killed versus how many he's lost. So he should, I mean, obviously from the score as well, he should assume that he's in a pretty decent spot. Bowman, only 4 here actually. Bongo does have the woodworking upgrade in, so he may be able to use the range advantage to make up for the numbers disadvantage here. But yeah, a handful of villagers going down. Like I said, Bongo's not really been adding villagers back in. Slinger as well being made there though by Bongo, and that is going to push back. And now, yeah, finally, Saymyname taps out. Like I said, I feel like the game had been over some time there. Bongo just using the advantage of the Power Mirror and work bonus to just go up on the 16 vils and give himself that earlier uptime. And yeah, I think this does actually cost more food than a generic Civ going up on 20, but obviously it just gives you a timing advantage. So yeah, 46 seconds of idle TC time, but that's still ahead 80 seconds of villager creation time, which is what makes the big difference there. And yeah, obviously, like I said, Saymyname committing to that double forward barracks there when he already had covers in his base. And I guess they'd only just started coming in at that point when he started building the second barracks. But yeah, like I said earlier on, just when you don't have the military buildings at home, it just leaves you fully exposed. Howdy hey Wattle. Just finished up with game 1. Bongo's managed to take a pretty chaotic game off of Saymyname, but like I said, it was probably got to about this point here. Yeah, you can see he just had more or less equal villagers, but like a huge military advantage, and like I said, the Power Mirror and work bonus on top of that. So we'll come out. So effectively, we brought it back to a best of 7 series at this point. So it's just a repeat of the winners' final here. Anyone's game to play for. And so we have the Macedonians losing up against the Palmyrans. Like I said, Palmyrans can be punished by the sort of the stronger early game civs, but again, I feel like against some of the weaker early game civs, they just get that unpressured early game, and then they can just kind of do what they want from that point. Bongo in good shape, yeah. Like I said, well, you saw as well, I'm sure, Wattle. He had a pretty solid performance. So we're going to Ocean Ring as the next map. So Saymyname obviously picking one of his own maps here. So Ocean Ring, I would expect Saymyname to pull out the Minoans for this map. He doesn't necessarily have to, but I feel like this is probably the map where the Minoans have the biggest advantages, because sometimes inland, occasionally you don't get like a central river, so it's the water part of the map is just fishing, which obviously Minoans still get the cheaper docks and the cheaper fishing boats, but then they don't get as big of an advantage as they have on the more open water maps. And again, on Continental, you can try to abuse the Minoans with stronger early game civs on the land. So I'd expect the Minoans from Saymyname. But what's Bongo going to go for? Sometimes we do see Persians played on Ocean Ring, as they do you get the hunt at the start of the game. But yeah, it looks like the players are actually already in the game, so I will just jump in. Oh, actually, I've just seen the Civ now from Bongo, and it is one that I did mention for having a water bonus earlier on in the stream, but I wasn't expecting to see it on this map here. Okay, we actually have already gone past the spectator delay, so we're actually going to go straight into the game here. And Bongo's gone with the Greeks as his pick here. And like I said, they do get the bonus of the faster moving ships, which you can use to try and dictate when fights happen on the water, because if it's an unfavourable fight, you can just run away, and if you want to force a fight, you can just chase an opponent down. But obviously, it tends to be that the civs that can just mass up more boats usually have the bigger say. So maybe in the earlier phases of the game, the Greeks can maybe utilise that bonus to try and, like I said, get some favourable fights. But the cheaper docks and the cheaper ships bonus for the Minoans probably going to shine through in the long run. Both of these plays, funnily enough, they're like kind of on the centre of the edge. Often you'll find that like you have the islands kind of on the corners of the map. So it doesn't seem like a very big starting area. Obviously, a big part of this map is, as the game progresses, both the players usually migrate to the centre part of the map to take advantage of the extra resources there, and to make sure you don't just get stuck on your own island, because sometimes we've seen on Ocean Ring before, you kind of get lose the water and end up getting penned into your own little starting island, and that's basically GG at that point. And so yeah, we'll see how Bongo does. Like, he's already gone for a dock, quite interestingly, and that's not particularly near any fish. There are some on this side of the river here. Actually has a little pool of fish there. Yeah, interesting that he's gone for the dock first. He's not made a fishing boat yet. Possibly waiting to get the wood for the storage pit, just to get the better wood production before that. Or maybe he just wanted that as like an early dock block to wall off that side, so probably possibly has plans to build a dock on this side and then yeah, just house wall the center and then try and play the longer game. Saymyname just having a look at the scouting the crossing of his base. It's going to be a little bit more tricky to block up this crossing. It's a little bit wider of an entrance. Bongo already sending a villager out. It'll be interesting to see if he does just try to play on the land here, although I'd question why we built that dock if he is going forward, but it actually kind of seems like that is going to be the play. Saymyname not committing to the water just yet, and it's always sort of a big question is when you do put those extra resources down to build your dock versus trying to get like just the food in for the tool age, which looks like sort of kind of standard land map start. Yeah, he's even gone for the granary as well, actually, I've just noticed. So yeah, very standard start by Saymyname. Second storage pit going up. I suspect we will see some docks coming down from Saymyname fairly soon. But Bongo, in the meantime, is nearly at his opponent's base. He hasn't quite clicked himself. Quite a lot of, oh yeah, over a minute of idle TC time. And yeah, like I said, the dock maybe going to come to play in the near future. I've just put a lot of villagers on wood now, so I suspect we will see some fishing boats coming in. Bongo does have the sneaky villager though. I feel like this is going to get spotted at some point. There isn't space for Bongo. There isn't space for Bongo to build a building without passing by. And is Saymyname going to spot this? And this, yes, he does. So Bongo maybe going for a repeat of the Citadel's game against Unres, where he just tried to sneak a villain at the back. But Saymyname spotting this villager out. It was a little bit more obvious here. Saymyname now, yeah, double dock. And Barracks just going up as well. Probably be at a market soon, I'd suspect, just to get the woodworking upgrade in. Yeah, second dock is going down now for Bongo, so a third dock for Saymyname. So maybe this was just a little bit of an X factor play by Bongo. It's just like, well, I'm probably at a civ disadvantage anyway, so I'll just go for this kind of like Hail Mary play. If it works, maybe I get to kill off his eco. If it doesn't, it's just a single villager. Badoof. What's the prize pool? That's a good question. I think I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. I think for the winner it's something like $175, so it's not like a massive prize pool, but it's still nothing to sniff at either. And then I think it's 125 for second place, possibly, but I'll have to double check the numbers. I can't remember exactly what it is. Something in that ballpark though. Yeah, no, good to see. Hopefully you enjoy the stream. But yeah, first scout ships are coming out now for both players. In fact, yeah, Bongo just skipping the fishing boats at this point. It's just committing fully to the water. Military side of the water, sorry. We're going to have a first little engage here. Bongo is going to have the second ship coming in. So they should handily win this trade. Obviously, in the long run, each of these ships is cheaper for Saymyname. So a little bit less investment, and yeah, I think that's the fourth dock now. Okay, I maybe slightly overset the prize pool then. But yeah, Saymyname with the first few ships coming around this north side. Obviously, Bongo knows exactly where Saymyname is, but yeah, Saymyname doesn't exactly know where his opponent is just yet. But he does actually find his opponent's crossing here. Woodworking coming in for both players. Third dock down for Bongo, and it is 5 scout ships to 5. Bongo has most of his forward, but if he can catch out the wood line here, this would be very nice for Bongo to try and get ahead in this phase of the game. Woodworking now onto the wood line. 1 villager, 2 villagers, 3 going down. Saymyname fairly quick to react, but still losing 4 almost straight away. I think there's probably no needlework on that. Maybe would have saved maybe 1 of the villagers if he had that, but didn't feel pressured into needing the tech. So that kind of evens up the eco numbers. Obviously, Saymyname with a few fishing boats, and yeah, now a few scout ships as well to help defend the position. But a nice little quick strike there from Bongo. Yeah, Bongo with just on the wood line at the back here is a little bit safer from the ships. And neither player has like massively expanded onto the mainland, and with Saymyname now camping the crossing, it might make it difficult for Bongo. Bongo taking a little bit of free damage here, and he is outnumbered in this fight. I mean, I'm not really sure why Saymyname's not trying to force a fight here. Again, Greeks have the bonus of the faster moving ships, so you can try and utilize that to avoid the fight. Getting in range now, I'm going to take a volley of arrows. And Bongo has 12 for 12, but in this immediate vicinity. Bongo actually managing to do well. Ooh, that scout ship was actually trapped there. Saymyname destroyed a section of the wall to break it out. I think Bongo probably actually going to be able to kill a few fishing boats here. So Saymyname not having everything his own way in this early game with some good damage again. Yeah, still the eco count still ahead for Saymyname. Bongo managing to get good damage in return, but now 13 to 9 on the scout ships. And this is where you start worrying about it, if that Minoan bonus is just going to start giving Saymyname just absolute control of the game. He's actually just making fishing boats again at this point. No more scout ships just at the moment. This may give Bongo a chance to catch up on numbers, but Saymyname can always just switch back into creating more scout ships if he wishes. There's 12 here, 7 flanking around for Bongo. Again, the speed bonus for the Greeks means if he just sees the enemy coming, he can maybe choose to run instead. He goes to the fight. I think he interpreted how many ships were actually there. They were kind of slightly stacked on top of each other. And yeah, like I said, Saymyname now adding in a handful of extra scout ships. And the Greeks do also get the faster working TC, which is part of the reason Bongo's ahead on villager count. But that said, actually no, he's killed 9 villagers, so actually he's had a lot more idle TC time. And yeah, Saymyname on the way to Bronze Age now. And that potentially could be lights out for Bongo in this one, because he's nowhere near really get to the Bronze Age himself. He might be able to do some damage down here. It's just a 5 ship. It's 5 ships apiece. But this scout ship can pull back. I'm going to be able to take out a villager and a couple of fishing boats. But yeah, the war galley upgrade though is just such a huge power increase over the scout ship. But once Saymyname gets to the Bronze Age and gets that upgrade in, it's probably going to be too much of an uphill battle for Bongo to play against. Bongo actually managed to sweep in again, and it looks like he got a whole bunch of villager kills actually. Let me just quickly cut back. Yeah, he managed to, whilst he was distracting on the top side, managed to get in on the wood line again. So apologies for missing that whilst I was focusing on the top side. Yeah, and a bunch of fishing boats down as well. So again, another nice pick off there on the eco for Bongo. We'll cut back to live. We might see the re-engage in the water. So actually now a huge eco advantage in terms of numbers for Bongo, but Saymyname, like I said, already on the way up to Bronze Age. Despite losing a lot of his economy there, he's going to be able to get that War Galley upgrade in and probably force Bongo onto the defensive. This gives Bongo a chance though. He's got 41 villagers on wood, I've just noticed. And now I imagine a lot of those will switch off wood. Now he sees that his opponent's in the Bronze Age. Or does he just keep trying to make scout ships? There's a lot of villagers migrating now. So that was, he chose now for the base. Yeah, the wood ran out of the back of the base, so I guess, yeah, that makes sense. Bongo might be able to win this fight here. Saymyname does have a few additional ships on the right here. But yeah, War Galley upgrade is coming in now. And despite, again, some good pickoffs by Bongo, 23 eco kills in total. I'm still not sure if that's enough. War Galley upgrade comes in. And then GG's just instantly called by Bongo. Didn't even get to see the didn't even get to see the fight in the end. But yeah, like I said, it was decent effort by Bongo, but it's just so difficult up against the Minoans. Yeah, you could argue that probably Artisanship probably should have been the first tech to come in. Because it's, yeah, like, Minoans aren't going to go chariots, are they? So, so yeah, you're probably right there, Naz. That's probably a slight mistake by Saymyname. I think that might just be like muscle memory of just defaulting to grabbing wheel at the start of Bronze Age every time. But yeah, didn't really matter. Yeah, Bongo just kind of just out-civved, I think. Like I said, he did try to go for the sneakyville at the start. No, that's way too early. Where was it? Maybe this is still too early, actually. Yeah, the villager's only coming through now. But I don't know if Saymyname could have spotted that a bit earlier. No, so he didn't spot it then. But yeah, like I said, just because of the way Saymyname has set himself up, it's very unlikely that Bongo was going to slip that villager through there. Would have had to, how could he have done that? He would have somehow like had to slip the villager up here and maybe build a barracks up here. And yeah, like I said, good effort from Bongo, but ultimately I think just the Minoan's just too strong of a civ, too high of a mountain to climb on that particular map there. But again, it's still some very nice plays, but again, like, even with all those eco kills, he still couldn't prevent the Minoans from taking the win there. So Minoans winning up against the Greeks. Obviously, that's Saymayname's first pick up against Bongo's last pick, so obviously it's not like the end of the world situation. And it looks like Continental is going to be the next map here. So we're going to Conti. I think Artisanship does just make sense to go first, just because it's not only the range for the ships, it's also the faster collecting wood. And in the Bronze Age, if you aren't already on land pushing, then controlling the water is still very, very important. And the wheel doesn't really help that much in resource collection. Obviously, you still want to get the wheel, because it still does help. But like, especially when you're a civ that's not going to go chariots, then I think Artisanship probably is the better call. Yeah. So I think Artisanship should have been researched before wheel. But again, Saymyname was in a position there where it kind of didn't really matter. So so Continental, as I said, is the next map. And looks like the guys have already launched again. And it is the Carthaginians from Bongo, so like I said, that civ does tend to be played on Conti quite a lot. Though Saymyname has used his Minoans now, so it is the Romans that we are going to see on Continental. So yeah, Saymyname does still have the Yamato as one of his available saves. I don't know if he's saving that for potentially inland, or if he wants to try and save that for maybe Oasis. I've said this before, the problem with Yamato is you can only play them once in a draft. And I feel like there's like so many maps you want to play them on, but you can only use them once. But yeah, Romans obviously a little bit weaker out of the gate than the Carthaginians, but if the tool age goes longer, the Roman building savings should accumulate to more resources than the starting bonus of the Carthaginians. I do think it is a little bit tricky for the Romans up against Carthaginians in the Bronze Age. They're probably going to have to rely on priests for the Romans there. But one of the bonuses we've not really seen actually come into sort of use in this tournament so far is the scout unit, sorry, being given some bonus damage against priests. We've not really seen that be relevant, but potentially, Saymyname is not. If it's still like a more equal game going into the Bronze Age, we may see Saymyname trying to get some priests out to convert some of those more expensive units that the Carthaginians usually like to play, usually like the cavalry units, as well as if it goes to a longer Bronze Age, you do usually tend to see those hoplites with the bonus HP coming into play. So yeah, Romans maybe, like I said, respond with the priest, and then we might see some scouts out from the Carthaginian just to try and deal the priest there, just because neither of these civs really have very good archery ranges. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this one. So we'll go back into the capture age view, and like we may not even reach the Bronze Age. Like I said, the Carthaginians should have a reasonable edge in the Stone and Early Tool Age. Just those extra resources just should theoretically get you to this Tool Age quicker. Saymyname just going for the granary start. I feel like he's one of the players that doesn't mess around trying to find like a good storage pit or dock spot. He just tends to be like, I'm just getting my granary down, I'm going to get my berries. It's going to be a decent storage pit spot here though. There's 4 fish there, so that's going to go down. But then obviously that means we're not collecting any food at the moment, so we're probably going to have a little bit of idle TC time after that 4th villager gets created. It might be a close run thing, that said though. Looks like, yeah, you didn't actually finish building the storage pit, you just started collecting. So a slight mismanagement there. And actually does get the food in. So well played to Bongo, manages to keep it down to 0 seconds, that's very nice. Yeah, obviously the Carthaginians having the extra 50 starting food makes that much easier to go for, as well as the extra starting wood as well. So yeah, Romans just get that small wood savings as every time you build a building, 10% wood save on each building, which isn't huge on each like for a house. Like that's only 3 wood, right? But it adds up. It slowly adds up. As we're just pulling in an elephant here. And so I was going to say I expect Bongo, but just because it's Saymyname, I expect both players to probably play quite aggressively on the land here. And it is kind of like a little bit unusual that like neither of the players is playing a more water-orientated civ on this map, just because in smaller best of series, there doesn't tend to be as many water maps drafted. But again, the Carth just does get played on this map quite often, just because of those starting resources. Yeah, allow you to get like a dock up a little bit quicker. And basically you can play the map however you like. Very versatile civ, Carthaginians in the early game. And in fact, yeah, he's adding fishing boats as well. So yeah, an extra villager going to be added onto wood to help out pay for those. And like I said, this normally does delay your tool age time a little bit by committing to the water earlier, but we'll see how Bongo manages that. storage pit just going up kind of near the zebra there. One of them's kind of got a little bit away there, but a few in the nearby vicinity. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for Saymyname there. And actually, I've only just noticed now there is this kind of central pool in the middle of the map, which is a little bit unusual for Continental. How many fish have we got in there? There's an extra 4 there, so 14. So 2,800, I guess that is, food. So it would be worth docking that if one of the players does find that. And arguably a little bit safer in terms of like less raidable by scout ships. And here we do see Saymyname with just a single villager again. I feel like the classic Saymyname play is that he sends 2 villagers forward, but in Highland he only sent 1 forward as well. Maybe just not as willing to give up the resource collection of 2 villagers when there's a little bit more on the line for the players. Barracks has actually been built at home by Bongo. I guess yeah, he's committed to being on the water. And it was 20 vills up with only 11 seconds idle TC time. So again, those extra Carthaginian resources really helping out the start of the game here, giving Bongo a very nice Stone Age. And yeah, barracks, as you can see, nearly completed by Saymyname here. But Clubber already out in play for Bongo. So going to be more than ready for this. As Saymyname is actually going to be only just marginally faster because he's made 1 less villager. But you can see 27 seconds of idle TC time. The forward barracks does get spotted. I don't think the villager did though. Maybe that zebra running might have been a little bit of a tip-off. But another, oh, it's an archery range. I thought it was going to be a second barracks. And yeah, the watchtower. It's probably just that'll be a watchtower on the wood line. There we go. And archery range for Bongo as well. Should go up about the same time as Saymyname's one, just because he's only using the single villager. And Bongo tried to wall out the clubbers there, I think, with that house. Didn't quite get it. And armor upgrade is in for Bongo. No upgrades for Saymyname just yet. Feels like he's more committing to these bowmen rather than committing too much to the clubbers. And Bongo doing kind of the reverse here, is going all in on all the upgrades. Zebra runs out, he's got a couple left over. Maybe just switch onto the berries here though. Doesn't have the wood just yet for a granary, and this is one of the things about not going for the granary start. It means you can't research tower or wall in the early game, which sometimes can leave you a little bit vulnerable. Needlework is already in on that villager, although I think Bongo isn't actually controlling that. It's just like the game automatically doing. Granary goes up now. Does have the food to research one of those defensive structures if he so wishes, but it looks like he's just committing to building the military buildings, units I should say, for the time being. Where did that villager go? I think that villager got taken out by Bongo. There we go, you can see the remains there. And feels like Saymyname now actually also getting himself set up on the water. Feels like, I mean, he's still creating bows. Yeah, Bongo going to have a chance to wall up now. So the forward play... Oh, actually does get a villager there. But these villagers I don't think needed to run here. I feel like that's one thing Bongo didn't do too well in his series, the series before against Saymyname in the winners final, is undervaluing the power of the needlework villager. And Saymyname kind of just letting the last of his units kind of die there. He does still have those bows in the back. Oh, here they are. But yeah, Bongo more than ready again to take advantage of that. So after all said and done, 2 eco kills to just the 1 for Bongo, and we're basically dead even in terms of eco count. Slight military lead for Bongo. And I think Bongo maybe has 2 docks now, yeah. I think... Okay, Saymyname actually has 2 as well. And the first scout ship has been built. Saymyname still building units on the front. Market does come down now, probably for the woodworking upgrade, maybe stone mining as well, actually, with the 7 slingers already out in play here. Does have the 50 stone you need for stone mining, and sorry, there's stone mining that comes in first. Oh, he is. Where is? So stone's on the south side there, so we would have to pit that to gather the resources there. But yeah, Saymyname, like I said, first to get scout ships onto the water, and that can always be pretty deadly if you're unable to defend your shoreline. Again, Bongo with a good mass of units, but those are all on the land, and we can see the scout ships sneaking around now. Interesting that Saymayame's decided to research Axa at this point when he's literally got 1 clubman left. Maybe he'll add in a few extra, but I feel like that's unlikely. Once there's a good mass of slingers and they have stone mining in, the power of the Axa somewhat diminishes. But yeah, woodworking coming in for Bongo as well now, but only just started production on scout ships, and this is going to give Saymyname a good tempo advantage on the water, and we'll see if he can punish any of the villagers on the wood line here. Is Bongo going to notice? I don't think he has. These fishermen going for the long haul. Still a bit of battle back on the 4th, and actually Bongo does notice, so he does pull the fishing boats away. Feels like Saymyname was focusing more here on the map. So he is going to get a fishing boat down now, but potentially hasn't done as much damage as he may have wanted to. But Bowman going to get on the stone as well here. So attacked on multiple fronts now. Oh, there we go. Now Bowman start firing. A couple of villagers probably going to go down. No, not quite. That second one just about managing to run. But now, yeah, scout ships on the wood line, and this is what I was calling before. Bowman as well, cutting off the exit, and the eco kills massing up now, and there's going to be an absolute massacre here. Pretty much only just surviving from the back and forth movement of the vills, kind of, yeah. Oh, this is yeah. Bronze Age has been clicked for Bongo, but Bronze Age with what? Okay, we do see a push on the front though. There's actions everywhere. I mean, if Bongo can break through the tower, he has more than enough units to do so. If he can get on Saymyname's wood line here, obviously he sees the units now. But Saymyname's managed. This is giving Saymyname the time he needs to run the villagers away. Yeah, action kicking off all over the place. Saymyname cutting down a handful more villagers there. 21 eco kills. Pretty much the whole wood line just pretty much completely massacred there. Fishing boat's going to go down as well. And yeah, Bongo's cancelled the Bronze Age at this point. So he's got plenty of food. But he needs to get this dive through. Punching through the house now. And I'm kind of a little bit surprised that Saymyname hasn't, like, researched wall or done something. I guess he's only got 60 stone. He doesn't have a lot to do there. Yeah, scout ship kind of being pulled in. Obviously the scout ships do a lot of damage at this phase of the game, but a few villagers definitely going to go down here for sure. And but yeah, scout ships maybe going to be able to defend the position, but a little bit sloppy, I think, from Saymyname here. Had plenty of time to pull the villagers back. But yeah, the mixture of the tower and the scout ships really going to thin down the numbers. That said, Bongo's still pushing through. You can see a handful of villagers on very low HP there. But yeah, now finally the numbers getting thinned out. 5 slingers left over. Another villager does go down though. But meanwhile, Saymyname is all over Bongo's base. He's down to 14 villagers of his own. So despite the damage done, it's only 13, only in sort of quotation marks there, to the 27 eco kills of Saymyname. And trying to find where Bongo's eco actually is. Most of it's down this side here on the wood. And yeah, he's no longer on food. Obviously he cancelled the Bronze Age, which gave him that 800 food back. Gave him a bit more time, a bit more resources to work with. And yeah, Bongo has only a small remnants of army left, and it feels like Saymyname is now taking complete control of the game now. Like I said, the biggest thing just that the damage onto the fishing ships, fishing boats I should say, and the wood line there where Bongo seemingly didn't notice. I think he had that fight on the land and that's what he was focusing on. Bowman being a bit of a nuisance. But yeah, scout ship's coming around again. Dock's going to go down. And I think that's going to leave Bongo just on the single dock. Only 2 scout ships left. 15 Vils. Still in this, mostly in this pocket here. Saymyname with another push again. 9 Bowmen coming through. Villagers trying to make a quick house wall to slowly advance. Saymyname, I don't know if he sees the chopped trees or if that's just capture age. Just because, yeah, I think that might just be a capture age thing. But he has seen the storage pit. So I'm a little bit surprised that going through again. Another counter-attack by Bongo. He's going to pick up a handful more villager kills for him. But yeah, I just feel like there's nothing really to be done at this point. Double the eco, nearly double the military. And yeah, fishing boats being spammed to Kingdom Come. And Bongo's still playing this out. Obviously, Saymyname did play for a little bit longer in that game 1 as well on Highland before taking the L. But I feel okay. I was gonna feel like if Saymyname found those villagers, it's gonna be lights out. But Bongo actually preemptively moving the villagers. New storage pit is going down. But yeah, 0 villagers on food at this point. The only way he's really gonna get food now is if he starts trying to place down some farms. The problem with farms is if you get raided, you can run with the villagers, but you lose all the food wood invested in the farms. Going to be a bit of a fight here. Bongo might be able to get some decent damage just because he had the high ground advantage, but GG is just called there. And now it's 3-1 in favour of Saymyname. And Bongo, he had himself set up nicely in the early game there. But it was just, like I said, those scout ships coming out earlier for Saymyname, because yeah, the early aggression from Saymyname didn't really get too much done. Bongo was well able to deal with the early aggression there. It was basically just these scout ships flanking around that caused all the damage and flipped everything on its head. Because yeah, you can see at this point Bongo well ahead on eco. Part of that, of course, is that he committed to fishing boats instead of scout ships. Like I said, it only just started making scout ships at this point. And he basically lost the whole wood line as well as a bunch of these fishing boats. But yeah, it's when the scout ships got on the wood line. Took Saymyname a little while to sort of like focus in there, but he once he did find the wood line, that was it. And yeah, this was basically the defining moment, really. And from this point, it was, like I said, he clicked bronze at this point, but just lost the whole wood line. Scout ships of his own. Yeah, just not ready to defend. He had a couple in there, but obviously not enough to defend the position here. And that just put him very far behind on eco. Had to cancel the Bronze Age. He cancelled that when it was like almost in, but then obviously he didn't have access to any gold. So I guess he decided there was no point. Cancelled that off. He cancelled that. He cancelled that 93%. That's... Do you just let it go through at that point? I don't think it would have helped him, like I said, because he didn't have access to gold. Welcome to the stream, Unrestricted. Making your presence felt, as per usual. I've just noticed I've still got the starting thing on. There we go. Okay, KGB, that's your opinion. MRD, sorry. If you don't want to enjoy the games, don't be in the stream. It's up to you. I mean, you can't really talk about rude when you just come in and say that. It's like double standards, my friend. So next map is going to be Gold Mountain. So yeah, just quickly sort out the we had the Romans win up against the Carthaginians. So Gold Mountain, we're going to go in straight away here. Let's not mess around, because I think I was yapping on a bit too much at the end of that game there. All right, Netquaker. Yeah, like Viat for Bongo here. So Bongo should be in a pretty nice spot in terms of the civ he has. Why can't we just enjoy the series instead of flaming each other? But yeah, Saymyname on the Assyrians, as we all know, is one of my least favourite civs. Ooh, Bongo has an extremely open base here. Like I said, that occasionally you do, like you can see here, Saymyname, this is obviously still fairly open front, but like not impossible to wall off certain sections here. But Bongo's is just like completely wide open here, which is gonna, I mean, like, he is the Latviat here, so you'd assume he'd be the aggressor in this matchup. But if he does lose control of the game, that could be a little bit problematic. Well, I think the last game, it was just that Bongo was a little bit greedy on the water. He just kept making fishing boats, right? Because he played the land correctly. He won the land control. He just was making fishing boats on the water, and it was literally just the scout ships in that last game. So like both players played certain parts of the map well. It was just that those scout ships just got so much damage in, and Bongo didn't notice them there. I mean, he is Vietnamese. Can we not, Katie, can we just not have personal attacks? Come on. Like, don't make me time you both out. Aye, man. Katie complaining that no one plays the game and then constantly flames everyone that plays it. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss for words, my friend. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Anyway, let's try and have some positivity and focus on the games. Like I said, Latviat for Bongo, which should, in theory, give him a large advantage just because the civ is so strong. But then also this map, you just have all the extra berries spawns as well. You can see like double berry spawn here. So if Bongo finds that, he's going to be quids in. He's got the pit up on the back there. Not too far from the stone, so that's going to be quite nice if he does want to add in slingers. He can probably just go to this storage pit here because that's not too far of a run. And like I said, Saymyname on the Assyrians, who I feel like Saymyname is one of the players who likes Assyrians more than I do, but then again, it's probably hard to like Assyrians less than I do. so that doesn't mean anything. KT do just chill out. Yeah, the berries should be very nice for the Lakviat, as you say, Wattle. Saymyname, gonna push the Gazelle for now. But yeah, in theory, the Lakviat should be much stronger than the Assyrians until we get to the Bronze Age. Then in the Bronze Age, to be fair, the Assyrians' Chariot Archer bonus is kind of stronger than any of the bonuses that the Lakviat have at that point. Obviously, the Lakviat, you can use their faster military bonus to try and mass more chariots, but then you still need the resources to pay for all those chariots, so arguably better to have the faster fire rate on the chariots at that point. Lakviat, well, I think this is like only the second or third series we've had on Lakviat recently, but Lakviat is like a top pick on this map just because it does tend to be slightly more open, and then like I said, all the extra berry spawns means you can take advantage of that bonus a lot more often. But I think just strong early game civs just tend to be quite good on this map. So Karth and Yamato and stuff like that, and probably not. Maybe you could play the Persians on this map, but I feel like it's a little bit of a coin flip with that civ on this map, just because occasionally, like I said, you can get slightly more closed spawns, so you've got to be more careful. In fact, yeah, and in fact, as I say, that scouts are the play from Saymyname. Building the stable at home. In fact, yeah, both players playing from their own base. There's a long distance to your opponent on this map, just because the centre of the map's obviously taken up by the big, well, I guess mountain. It's not really much of a mountain. It's more just kind of like a bit of a hill in the middle. It's not like that steep of a climb. I guess it's fairly steep on the way up. But yeah, both players going for a more defensive player. Arguably, Saymyname maybe should have walled up this section of the map, but it hasn't quite done. Actually, he has actually explored that. That's kind of surprising. It's got a little gap in the wall. But yeah, first scout does come out. Bongo going for the bowman. Those bowmen with the extra armor for Lakviat. Does make them a little bit better at fighting into scouts, but obviously scouts still have that bonus damage. What is it? +3 bonus damage to archers. So it's just one of that. Ooh. But yeah, scout coming in. Bongo, no needlework, so this scout is going to be a little bit tricky. It does have the armor in, no tool working just yet, but so it's not going to be able to do a huge amount of damage, but it's also not going to take much damage in kind. Needlework being researched straight away from Bongo means I think the scout shouldn't be able to get too much done. Just a little bit of annoyance here. Needleworking now, and that scout should get taken down unless it can squeeze its way out. It does so. So the scout's pretty speedy. A biggest advantage. And Bongo, I think, is now fully walled. Is there a gap up here, though? No, there's not a gap in the trees there. That is closed off. So Bongo is now fully walled. I am a little bit surprised that Bongo didn't try to play this map more aggressively. As, yeah, like I said, if the Assyrians do get the chance to get themselves up to the Bronze Age, I feel like that's where they want to be. So, yeah, just a handful of scouts just to try and get some initial aggression through. Clubbers obviously don't have bonus damage against the scouts. The scouts going to handily win that fight. Yeah, so no actual eco damage done in terms of actual kills, but some sort of like maybe a little bit of idle villager time caused by these scouts just being a little bit annoying, and not too heavy of a investment. I mean, I guess he went for both of the pit techs as well, so maybe that isn't a fair thing to say. It's been a reasonable investment, but not like over the top. But yeah, Saymyname now getting himself set up on the farms. Looks like he did the why is the classic slightly misplaced farm, and then you delete it and put it back in the perfect spot again. But yeah, he's found some berries at the back. Unfortunately, Bongo didn't. Oh no, he has spotted those berries, but they are outside of his wall. He does have some berries in the back, but I don't think. That's unfortunate. So yeah, he didn't find any of those extra berries. Oh no, sorry, he did have one at the back there, but not found the second set of berries that he does have inside his base at the moment. He is pushing out now with some of these bows. But Saymyname, like I said, has had quite a lot of time to get himself set up with the farms. He's, like I said, found those extra berries in his base, and probably not in the too distant future may be able to click himself up to bronze. That said, Bongo actually has more food in the bank for the time being. Both players on 37 vils. Slightly different idle TC times, but Bongo's also researched needlework, which is why the villages are the same. I'm presuming Saymyname, yeah, doesn't have needlework in. Yeah, the Assyrians should be, like I said before, just because they've got the faster attacking chariot archer, whereas the Latviat don't really have a military bonus per se. Early bronze. Well, yeah, I guess well, same. They're both going up to bronze at the same time. I guess it's tough to call because obviously the Latviat, like I said, can produce the units quicker. So it's the question of, like, does the Latviat player have the resources to mass a greater mass of chariot archers? Because the other thing as well is the Assyrians, as I've said before, many times before, they don't get nobility. So if the Latviat player can get a nobility and a decent mass of chariot archers, they can still fight. We're going to see a bit of an engage here. Saymyname going to be able to clear up a lot of the bows here. So that's going to be very nice for him, because that means he's going to be able to control the flow of the game as we hit the Bronze Age, I think. So, yeah, pretty much all the bows going down. Interesting that Bongo is still adding in a couple more bows. I guess just to try and hold the position. But yeah, 4 archery rangers that total, I think. 4 archery rangers. So I suspect both players are going to be going for the chariot archer. There's no gold being collected by Bongo. So narrowly earlier means he's going to be able to get the wheel out and the chariot started pumping a little bit sooner. Yeah. Saymyname trying to push through the archery range. But yeah, wheel coming in now. And like I said, now it's going to be question of whether or not Bongo can just outmass his opponent, or if the Assyrian faster firing power. Saymyname a little bit slow to get his extra archery rangers up. Obviously he still has the time until the wheel researches, so he should be okay there, I think. This archery range is going to go down for Bongo. He's building another one at the back here. Like I said, just losing that fight in the middle just means that Saymyname gets to, again, like I said, dictate the course of play. A couple of slingers being added in. Again, possibly just to try and buy time. Chariot archers are now starting to be created as the archery range. Sorry, the wheel does come in. Interesting that he's going for the +4 armor. Maybe he's expecting his opponent to commit to cavalry a little bit more. But yeah, maybe a little bit of a waste of resources there. We do see a push out quite early, so Bongo wants to relieve the pressure as soon as possible. Obviously, he does know he got to the Bronze Age a little bit quicker. Scout can do some decent damage to the chariots, but like I said, they got the +4 plus the extra 1 from the Latviat bonus to resist some of the attack. And now, here we go. It's just going to be the chariot archers facing off. Obviously, there's remnants of some Tool Age army. No, armor is exactly the same as it is in DE, so it only gives you melee armor. It's just 2 melee armor. None of the techs have changed, apart from like a couple of the temple techs have changed, I think, is the only difference, and then there's been a few extra changes. But yeah, Syrian bonus being put to good work there. I think Saymyname does have a height bonus there. That does have the high ground. It's kind of hard to read, but yeah, very easily taking that first trade. And that already means that Saymyname has the numbers advantage now. So yeah, Bongo going for extra TC. He's got 3 TC. I mean, Saymayname's added TCs as well, but I think, like I said, the important thing was getting the massive chariot archers. So now is going to be in the tough position where he just has to hold the position. He is gathering quite a lot of gold now, which should mean he'll be able to get some nobility in soon, and he does click nobility. But he's already down 10 chariots. And Saymyname at the limit for food at the moment. But he's already pushing forward. And is this just going to be lights out? Bongo does have a good mass of chariots up here. But again, these are Assyrian chariot archers. And Saymyname pushing through. Nearly has nobility of Bongo forced to run here. But yeah, next wave already coming in. Bongo kind of forced off the resources. Nobility is in now. So if Bongo can win this trade here, maybe that gives him a chance to regroup before he has to fight the next mass of units. So this actually potentially works reasonably well in Bongo's favour. But he has to be quick because again the units are just massing and massing. You can see the dots flooding across the map. But yeah, like I said, Bongo should be able to clear this up. But again, 29 to 18. A few villagers I think got caught out on the front possibly there. Maybe just delete the farm actually. Archery range is going to go down. I don't think that's too much of an issue because I don't think Bongo really has the resources to produce from that many archery ranges anyway. We may now see a forward villager at some point to get a siege workshop down. Although that said, with the high ground advantage, maybe he doesn't even need it. Eventually he's probably just going to crack through anyway. Another villager does get caught out. House walls trying to be put in place. A little bit awkward from Bongo. And Saymyname does take a little bit of damage again, but he's just sat on that ridge. It's, like I said, there's just very wide open in front of the base. I think Bongo might need to delete a wall and try and get himself up on the hill himself. 36 to 25 now, and still just the last remnants of these guys broke through. I think that was the barracks getting destroyed there, and Bongo did find those berries in the end, but those berry workers are going to be forced to run. And yeah, Bongo 28 vils. He's just not had the resources. Oh no, sorry, that was 28 military. I got completely confused, but he's quite far behind on eco, is the point. Going to see a big engage here. 28 to 32. Nobility is in, but so is the Assyrian attack bonus. The units are just going to be let loose. You can see their HP winning out so far. And like, this is the difference of just having nobility. This is kind of the sad thing about this series. But I think with the reinforcements coming in for Saymyname now, I think that's going to be the backbreaker. As the fight's still fairly even. But yeah, slowly going in the advantage of Saymyname now. Just these more units are just coming forward. And yeah, down to 6 chariots. And yeah, 29 on the field. Stone Thrower come out now, but yeah, Stone Thrower is basically completely ineffective against a decent opponent. And 4-1. And like I said earlier in the game, the Syrians, if they got to that Bronze Age, they were going to be very difficult to deal with, and Bongo just didn't really try to play any sort of aggressive game there. And Saymyname, just like with that handful of scouts, just to put a little bit of a pressure on his opponent early on, force a defensive hold, a few extra bowmen, just got himself up to the bronze. Obviously, Bongo got a little bit faster, but not enough of a difference, and then focuses on adding TCs instead of just massing chariot archers there. And now Saymyname 4-1 up against TakeawayBongo. Means he's only one game away again, one game away from winning the whole tournament. Hopefully Bongo can bring back a few games to even the series up a little bit more. But yeah, so far, very convincing performance by, very convincing performance by Saymyname, tripping over my own words there. As we go back to the draft, so we did just see, I've already ticked it, haven't I? Yeah, Gold Mountain. And that's the Assyrians getting the brunt. It's always one of the weird things about the Latviat is because they're labelled as an archer civ, but they really aren't very good into other archer civs because their archer bonus is obviously they get faster producing military units in general, but their archer bonus is extra melee armor. So like their archers aren't actually good into other archer civs. It's kind of weird. So yeah, like I said, I think a bit of a misread of the game by Bongo there, just playing too defensively in the position. Yeah, well, like Bongo could have played scouts himself, right? There's no reason why Bongo couldn't have done that. Just like look around with the villagers, keep trying to find berry patches, just go scouts and use that to control the map. And Saymyname with the Syrians don't really have any bonuses in the early game that helped his play. So yeah, I think Bongo coming in with like slightly the wrong strategy for the Civ matchup there, just completely played into the Assyrians' favour. And AoE2 Rex may have just died, so I may have to find the game manually. Alright, Chinch. Okay, Desert Ridge is going to be the next map. So Bongo on, well, yeah, the last gasp. He's got to try and drag himself. He has to win how many games in a row? 4 games in a row now. And a single loss knocks him out of the top. Well, yeah, out of the final. So, what civs do we have left? Like I said, Desert Ridge. He does have the Persians left. And Saymyname, though, has Yamato. I don't know if Saymyname would want to save the Yamato for a different map, though. But, like, sometimes in this position where you're at tournament point, sometimes you just want to pull out your best civ and just be like, I'm winning this now. Yeah, well, I'd imagine that Yamato would probably be saved for Oasis or Plateaus. Normally. Yeah, they both still have Shang, that's a good point. Neither of them have used Shang yet. I'm just gonna type it back in the chat just in case they've forgotten. I lost my trail of thought there. But yeah, Shang would obviously be, well, Shang's just a good pick everywhere, right? So I always try to, like, when I talk about the Shang, like, oh, they're good on this map, and they're like, well, they're good on pretty much every map. So, but yeah, Shang is still a choice for both players. So maybe Bongo does feel the need to pull that out here, because otherwise, I think ideally he'd want to save the Persians for Oasis, right? So maybe Shang is the pick for Bongo here. I'm just going to get rid of that notification because that's annoying me. There we go. Oh, nope, it's still there. Hang on. There we go. Clear that Discord notification. I think it does depend on the civ a bit. I think there are occasional civ matchup, because like in that situation, Saymyname didn't really need to get much work done, but you obviously want to make some units in the Tool Age just so you don't roll over and die. But I feel like there are some situations where players go for the all-in play when they don't need to, and it ends up like losing them the game, just because they leave themselves exposed. Like if both players just go full forward, it sometimes makes the game really coin flip. Yeah, like obviously most of the time you do want to play aggressive, but depends on the map, right? And it just depends on the civs. Like sometimes I feel like people get stuck in like thinking there is just a set way to play, when there's like obviously there's that set way is good most of the time. Like I won't disagree with that, but there's occasional time where like other strategies should be played. Anyway, I think I've been talking for so long the game probably has started. Yeah, we're in now, although I think we might be in the spectator delay. Let me just switch in. And okay, so still neither player going with the Shang, but we do see the Persians from Bongo. I mean, obviously, if he doesn't use the Shang now, it means he can still use the Shang later. But yeah, it's Egyptians is the pick from Saymyname, as we just have the countdown. Well, Latvia basically gets to choose what they do in the early game, right? I do think that, like I said in like when I did my tier listings, like the Latvia do feel like they drop off quite early. Like if they don't get stuff done in the early game. I mean, obviously the faster military bonus still is a factor, but yeah, Egyptians from Saymyname. Yeah, well, I think on that map you should play aggressive for sure, because it's like you say, if you're on the aggressive, then you can just expand. Because like the problem with going for berries on Gold Mountain is sometimes you just have a lot of exposed villagers when you do that. But like if you're playing forward, it's less likely that those villagers are going to get caught, right? Bong will forward 3 racks. 3 racks with the Persians. It's not impossible. Like I said, Desert Ridge, you can get a bit unlucky. Like obviously Bongo wants this to be an open Desert Ridge, but occasionally you do just get those very closed in ones, which is why the Persians, while in theory they should be good here because there's loads of elephants, sometimes you just don't get that opening you need in the early game to punish, and then in later phases of the game your tech tree is just crap as the Persians. Recalled. Oh well, we should get to see the what the map looked like, even if the re was called. Oh, interesting. So both the players actually spawn really close to each other here. I'm not sure how much to say about the game because Gav has told me that a restart's been called. I mean, you can see here like the front of the base would be pretty wallable for Saymyname though. Like he's a little bit exposed on the flank, but like the front of his base would be very easy to close off. Bongo is a little bit more open with like the flank and that area. But yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant to get to... Oh, okay, did he lose the villager here? Yeah, okay, he lost the villager. That's probably what happened. So that was a little bit unfortunate. So I think what happened there was... Yeah, he just caught aggro on that lion. So he just wasn't going to be able to, like... Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, the villager didn't actually die, but he lost aggro on the elephant. He probably thought there was a good chance. He took another whack. So, okay, I don't mind that. I don't mind a restart being called for that. Obviously, it's very important that you do get those elephants back for the Persians. All right, news. I don't think that it's impossible. Do you mean in, oh, do you mean just in the Civ matchup? Yeah, fair. That's probably right. Yeah, I mean the Persians just feel bad in outside of like the first 10 minutes of the game. Like if you haven't won in like the first 10-11 minutes as the Persians, you're probably in for a bad time against basically every Civ. Okay, so like I said, a little bit of a false start. maybe he's memeing. GG 4-1. Game up before the game began. Right, so we'll get back in. Yeah, we've only got 21 seconds on the delay, because obviously we're a little bit behind real time with the spectator delay. So again, I think this is going to heavily come down to the map spawn and whether or not Bongo can get that aggression in. Here we go. Potentially, this could be the last game of the tournament. It's like I said, Saymyname on tournament point, 4-1 up in the series. And let's have a look. Saymyname pretty exposed on that left side. This right side is wallable. But yeah, pretty exposed around here. The front of the base, having the wood in the front could make it a little bit awkward depending on where the forward barracks placement is. I feel like that's like a really fat ridge, for want of better words. But yeah, Bongo going up to... Ooh, there's a crocodile there. Yeah, I feel like the Persians need some help in the later phases of the game. It's maybe something we'll look into in future patches. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't aggro the crocodile here. Otherwise... Oh god, he has. I think he might be alright though. But yeah, 3 elephants, and he may get the 4th hit. And he may get the crocodile as a little bonus. Crocodiles do have food on them, 100. Ooh, that's a whack. It's alright, we've only taken 1. We can take a few. He's going to go for 5. Do I see 5, ladies and gentlemen? Ooh, it's close. It's a close run thing. It's a villager on the downhill slope against an elephant. Oh, I mean, oh, he's look. Sadly, he's dropped aggro on the crocodile, so that's 100 food gone. But he's going to see this other elephant on the way back. It's going to be 6 elephant. Saymyname settling for the 2. But obviously, ooh, okay. I saw a blinking on the map. Why is that blinking? But yeah, big old elephant train. 6 elephants coming in. That's going to be very nice for Bongo. I mean, maybe he thinks he has to be greedy, to be fair. But yeah, elephant train's just parking up outside the TC. And this is going to be food for days. And the Persians should be having an absolute field day in this one. Well, that's true. That is true. I mean... If Saymyname somehow manages to out-aggro Bongo on the Persians here with this many elephants, then I don't know what to say at that point. Egyptians OP. Villager is forward now, as we're on 16 fills. We are slightly behind on idle TC time for Bongo. But you'd still imagine that the Persian player should be able to get that food in quicker than the Egyptian player. Storage pit, interestingly, going up down here next to the stone. So maybe he will push the gazelle. Oh, to be fair, maybe a second pit could go up here at some point. He's got so many elephants, he probably doesn't need to worry about the gazelle just yet. There is a decent, yeah, 1,200 food on the gazelle. I think that villager took a whack. I just saw a little blink on there. Oh, and yeah, house has been spotted for Bongo. So actually both players clicking up more or less at the same time. You can already see that Bongo has more food in the bank. I don't know why we're running so far back with the Vil. Maybe just to try and prevent the Vil getting caught. In case Saymyname noticed. I don't know how exactly near he went to that house there. A little bit short on wood for Bongo. The question is he going to go for the multi-barracks play, or are we going to just see scouts come out? Saymyname, barracks at home. So I think he's playing to the matchup. Like I said, Egyptians, they'll just try and defend the position and build from there. In theory, yeah, once the cheaper farm bonus comes in, if they can get those farms set up, get the food eco going, get up to Bronze Age, and get to those chariots, then we're sitting pretty. In the meantime, though, it is going to be a second barracks coming out. So is it just going to be double barracks into archery range, or are we going to see triple barracks? Wall being researched by Saymyname. So he has already kind of walled off the right side of his base, but like I said, it's very exposed on this left side. So maybe Bongo arguably a little bit fortunate to come down this left side of this big wood line as opposed to down here. Archery range at home as well. Means these axes are going to need to get damage in soon. It is an archery range as the third military building. As axe are upgraded in, armor comes in. No needlework just yet. But here we go, boys and girls. Strap in, because this may be the last game of the tournament. Already a bowman out. And maybe Bongo should have added in a couple of slingers. I feel like that's one thing I've not seen players do as much as maybe they should have been, is adding slingers in earlier on. I feel like the classic play of like axemen into slinger has been kind of dropped a bit. But yeah, needlework coming in now. It looks like Saymyname did actually lose a villager. No, sorry, that was Bongo that lost a villager to Elephant. One villager does go down though. Axa gets taken down. 3 bowmen in defense, 4 bowmen in fact. Already woodworking as well. And again, I guess he spent all of his stone on the tower. He does have access to stone though. And he's chasing down another villager there. It's a little bit of a fool's errand as the villager does move faster than the Axa does. But a couple of bows of his own now. Let's have a look what's happening. The elephants have run out now. But he still has the berries left and the gazelle. Second archery going down. Slinger's being added in now that he has some stone available. And I guess eventually this villager will die. So Saymyname still in a bit of a difficult position, but maybe a little bit over-investment in axes and only just adding the slingers in now. It's going to make let Saymyname have a decent advantage. Like he's already got the woodworking as well for these bows. So he's going to be in a pretty nice position for this engage. A couple of slingers are going to tank a lot of shots from the bows though. Axe's trying to close down, just act as a meat shield. See the military numbers evening up. And the slingers maybe not doing as much work as Bongo would have wanted them to. Like I said, maybe just a slight over-investment in the axes and maybe should have got on the stone a bit faster to get that slinger numbers in. I mean, it's still up 4 vills with the 3 vills killed. And a little bit of idle TC time forced. So it's still not a terrible position for Bongo, but I think he still has... I think more damage still needs to be done. Saymyname, like I said, he had that fairly easily defended right side of his base, so he only needs to defend on the one front here. And is this enough of a lead for Bongo? Stone mining coming in now for those slingers. Military count is even. Most of that is bowman for Saymyname. So once the stone mining comes in theory, should slightly favour Bongo, maybe, but Saymyname may be able to finagle a fight in his favour. It's going to be a very close moment. Archers pop out, bowmen pop out, sorry. And I think we're going to see the engage soon. Maybe a couple of villagers may get caught in the crossfire here. These are very tense moments. Bowman goes down. Archers, bowmen wrapping around the back though. They're going to block the houses though. So the flank there not going to be pulled off. If Saymyname can pick off this handful of bowmen, could be a few free kills for him. Not choosing to... Oh, she's got a couple of slingers there. I hadn't noticed those. Those will slip away. Stone mining in for Saymyname now. I mean, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Some different tournaments, sometimes they do a double bracket in the final, but because we go up to best of 9, we just give them a free game. Because, like, I know in fighting game tournaments, the loser's bracket winner has to win 2 series back to back, but they play best of 5 series all the time. So we've got a best of 9 final with Saymyname in a free game, but here we go. Might have the engage here. Like, took a moment as it felt like both players took a step back for the moment, but I think we're going to see the engage. Some units being levered back and forth to distract some of the projectiles. And HP advantage still in the favour of Saymyname, but like more slingers in play for Bongo. Because I think, yeah, it looks like Saymyname is focusing down his opponent's bowmen, the squishier units. And it might just be a... Yeah, I think Bongo kind of won the fight-ish there, but then the next wave of reinforcements came in. Still very even position, 13 military units to 7, 31 to 27, so Bongo's still with a slight lead here. You see Saymyname trying to get himself set up with the farm eco. So we'll look at the base back here. Yes, we did grab the gazelle, but yeah, onto the farms now, so the hunt has run out. So Persian's basically just a completely generic civ at this point. Still a very cagey back and forth affair. Obviously, like I said, for Bongo, this is his tournament life on the line. Saymyname a little bit more relaxed, arguably, but maybe not in the specific position of this game, because he's a little bit under pressure now. Again, just a couple of units being pulled back and forth to try and dodge some of the arrow fire. Slinger kind of placed front and center to try and absorb some hits there. But yeah, I think it's just like, yeah, the Slinger mass has just been in favor of Bongo for most of this point. Now that's a pretty convincing fight win. Saymyname feeling forced to bring in villagers now. And you know, this is like the sort of last ditch effort. So 9 kills now on the eco. And I think at this point, I'm pretty confident in saying I think Bongo's done enough now. And yeah, GG is called. Oh, that was cagey. That was a cagey back and forth game. It was like, obviously Bongo got that slight advantage, killing like 2 or 3 villagers, but I was just like scared that it wasn't going to be quite enough. But yeah, Saymyname never really able to sort of push out from his base. Did a good job of holding for the early phase. Like I said, I think if Bongo got himself onto stone a little bit quicker to get those slingers out a little bit faster, and maybe had, yeah, because I think he went up to about 10 axemen, maybe like 6, 7, 8 axemen, and then switch into slinger. And that means you just got an answer to your opponent's bowman response, and then your remaining axes are more effective because you can deal your opponent's bows a little bit better. But yeah, Bongo still keeping himself in there for the time being. Very cagey game, like I said. Well, I'd argue the way we've done it is reasonably fair. Yeah, small Mongols. Small Mongols is small is the key word there. Oh dear. Because that's the thing. It's like the Persians aren't an unplayable civ. It's just like their window of opportunity is so incredibly small. They're like, if you don't get that advantage, you just fall out of your power spike so quickly. So like I said, I feel like the Latvia and the Persians are quite similar in terms of they've got like very strong early games, but then like their later game bonuses aren't that good. But then like the Latvia have the advantage that their tech tree is just so much better through the rest of the game, whereas the Persians just don't have anything. Yep. So that was why have all my ticks gone away? Did I refresh this by accident? We've seen Ocean Ring, we have seen Continental, we've seen Gold Mountain, and we've seen Desert Ridge. And we've seen Highlands as well, but obviously that's not in the maps here. And so, we saw the Egyptians lose up against the Persians. So what do we have left? Both players have the Shang left. Outside of that, Saymyname still has the Yamato. Bongo still has the Phoenicians, so it is Saymayname's choice of map now. And would you just go straight to Oasis? Just go to Oasis, pull your Yamato pick out. I mean, Bongo still has the Shang available though. I think I do slightly prefer the civs Bongo has left. If you can get Babylonians matched up into the Hittites though, that would be quite nice. Though Hittites, if you can get Hittites on inland, maybe. I mean, you've got Phoenicians actually. Probably that's the civ there. It's a tough choice. Like when it gets to this part of the, it is Oasis, is the map that's currently being hovered. And I think I've seen a couple of players pick Chosen on Oasis, but is this where Bongo has to pull his Shang out? Like I said, Saymyname still has access to the Yamato. I don't know if he'd want to save Yamato for inland himself. So do we see a Shang mirror here? Because both players, like I said, even though it's not shown here, part of the draft is that both players just get given Shang. Just because best of nines get a little bit weird with just how many civs are available in the game. So, like I said, that was a very cagey back and forth game we had before. Okay, the game has launched now. And in fact, as I suggested may happen, it is going to be a Shang mirror. Like I said, I think the player's probably wanting to save, well, it's like Saymyname wanting to save that Yamato for the potential of the inland map. So I think we're going to be in, yeah, a little bit of spectator delay again. I'll just show you the screen so you can see what I see. So we've got 1:50 until our Shang mirror on Oasis. Which, we don't see the Shang on Oasis much, but that's normally just because the Shang is played on other maps. Not the Shang's still good on this map. There's not many maps where the Shang isn't good. It's just you don't normally see Shang survive that long in the series for it to be played on Oasis. So now it's just going to come down, well, it might be I was going to say better execution, but also potentially just a little bit of luck of being the first you find your opponent, maybe like finding that wood line in the early tool age. It'll be interesting to see how each of the players play the map. The usual play is to go for the scouts play, but I have seen some players just going axe or bowman. And obviously axes to get the bonus damage into scouts, but the scouts give you so much more control of the game just because of the speed of the unit. So thank you for joining me, everyone that's in the stream today for the grand final. Hopefully you've been enjoying the games so far. It's 4-2 advantage to Saymyname in this best of 9, so obviously first to 5. So again, Bongo, he's got his work cut out if he wants to bring this one all the way back. Saymyname just needing that one more game. we're about to get ourselves in to the Oasis mirror matchup. Let the games begin. In a second. When my capture age loads up the game. There we go. And so, on the left side we have Bongo on the Shang. On the right side we have Saymyname on the Shang. And it's a very, very, very wide open map for both players, really. I think a little bit more so for Saymyname, you've got to say. I mean, potentially you could find a little back pocket to hide some villagers in here, potentially. But that's not usually a way people would play this map. And like I said, normally we see civs like the Yamato and the Yamato and Persians on this map. Just because they're both good civs at playing for the scouts in the early game. But the Shang is also a good civ at playing scouts. And both players choosing this as their moment to bring out their trump card. Saymyname finding an extra elephant at the start there. Looks like he might find this one as well, so that's pretty nice for him in the start. And Bongo maybe just probably will find this elephant here. Is he going to grab that, or is he going to start pushing the gazelle? I think he's going to, well, zebra in this case, but he's going to start pushing those in. And how brave are the players feeling? Are we still going to see the full in aggression I would expect, or is Bongo going to play a little bit conservative, or are either the players going to play a little bit more conservative? I wouldn't expect so. Like I said, there's a little bit of money on the line. Not enough to change your life, but enough to maybe buy a few video games or something. And yeah, like I said, not too much happening, but sort of tense feeling. Or at least I'm feeling a little bit tense. I don't know about you guys. The anticipation. Saymyname, I think just exploring some extra elephants. He does find another one there. Is he going to narrowly missed out that artifact? That's a little bit unfortunate. Would have been quite nice for some extra exploration. That's the classic one tile miss on that elephant there. As Bongo goes to push the rest of the zebra. And Saymyname has found his zebra, but he's been content to just go out and find elephants for the time being. Storage pit back, and that's a nice pit for the stone. A little bit awkward if you wanted to add in farms around that granary later, but that's assuming we're going to ever have farms around that granary. So in the short term, a lot better to have the storage pit on the stone for potential towers or slingers. Walls usually not too useful on this map, so just the occasional defensive tower is usually what we'd see, if a tower at all. And Saymyname, going to find another berry spot. And a few more zebra as well. There's a little bit of an awkward position. I mean, it could be a future spot for a storage pit here if things start going a bit wrong in the main base. So it's good that Saymyname has found that, just so he has the option of that later as a little bit of a get out of jail card. So it looks like this may be the forward villager now. And I've just noticed 19 villagers up for Bongo, so he's going to be up for Saymyname, so he's going to be a little bit faster now. So like I said, this is the more usual play, 2 villagers forward from Saymyname, but it's actually the first time I've seen this series. But yeah, both players, I was going to say maybe a little bit late, but actually not too late, I guess. Bongo has more resources to slap down the barracks, well, more wood at least. Obviously, Saymyname a little bit more food. Is that the barracks at home? Barracks at home, and the villager gets spotted here. Does Saymyname get? And this is the advantage of bringing 2 villagers. But barracks is going to go down on the north side. But barracks at home leads me to believe that we're going to see the forward stable from Saymyname. He's probably going to place that down. Maybe it's just as soon as he hits the tool age. But Bongo should know that the second villager is coming forward, but yeah, stable going down. A little bit of ways. That's not great. Villager going down from the elephant. Distracted by all the other stuff that was going on. Bongo double barracks, so I think it is just going to be Axa into bows and tower researched as well. Yeah, just tower on the wood line. Usual play. Scout just going up now. And what happened to that elephant? Did that elephant reset? I thought the elephant would just stop. That's a little bit weird. Or maybe he dropped aggro with this villager. Maybe that's what actually happened there. And an archery range. I'm a little bit surprised the archery range wasn't placed a little bit more forward. But yeah, the stable is a little bit out of place as we see the first military units. Well, not out of place, but like far away from the opponent. First Axa is in. Needlework, not researched just yet. Actually, not enough food at this specific moment. Now it does. Axa takes down the clubman. So Bongo on the aggressive here. 2 vills up after Saymyname losing a vill to an elephant, and then also just making 1 less villager. Tower should prevent the Axes from getting too much damage here. First scout is going to be in now, and that has all the upgrades in. And no, oh, needlework already in for these villagers actually. So 1 scout not really going to be of much consequence. So Saymyname going to need to hold the position. Like I said, he has found these resources at the back of his base here. Bongo laming the leftover zebra. Not going to be an issue for Saymyname for the time being. And some good decent damage done onto that villager there. Now extra scouts coming in. And is this going to be a game-defining play right here? 2 villagers going down. Looks like Bongo hasn't noticed yet. Now jumps back into the TC. And that brings the villager count back into Saymyname's favour. And now these scouts are going to be able to run around. Let's have a look on this side though. Bowman trying to shoot over. Only the single bowman. Oh no, it's actually a couple squeezed in there. But no villager kill just yet. This tower, 1 villager hidden inside. 4 scouts on the front now. And he's going to go diving under the tower here. The house doesn't go down quick enough. Villagers dive into the tower there. I think, yeah, 4 villagers should be able to take out a single scout, but it's going to be need a lot of micro involved to save all the villagers here. I don't know if there's space in the tower. That 1 villager does go down. Tower still hitting away. 1 scout should get taken out here, but I think another couple of villagers are going to go down. Bongo on the offensive, diving through at the same time here. This map, game getting very, very messy. Another couple of villagers, maybe can only fit 5 in that tower. There's only so many that can survive. But yeah, kills being traded back and forth here. And I think these bows should be able to hold the position now, but again, villager hills back and forth for both players. Both players down to 14 vills. Both players focusing on the military for the time being. Saymyname with a slight edge on the military count now. And I don't know if Bongo has access to any food. He still has... Now this elephant's just run out. What can he see? He sees the berry patch down here. But he's just resorting to farms. I was going to say it'd have to be quite brave when his opponent is on scouts to go for those berries. Oh, that's going to be 2 farms lamed. Oh, that's gutting. That's a huge amount of wood just completely denied there. And it's going to be very costly for Bongo. He can kill the scout. The scout's literally only 4 HP. There we go. But yeah, that scout done more than it's worth in damage there. 12 units to the 7, and Saymyname actually adding in villagers again now. The scout, which again, just 1 scout, shouldn't be able to get too much damage done, but it's enough to be annoying at the very least. Villager taking damage again. Bongo jumps that back in. Bongo just needs to get rid of this. Another couple of bowmen coming forward though. It's actually Saymyname that claims these berries here. 2 military buildings. Still, we got 11 bows. I think most of those must be at home, yeah. So Bongo trying to form a counter-offensive here. But Saymyname ready to defend the position. And the game's not completely over yet, but it's definitely in Saymyname's hands now. Yeah, and yeah, the bowman just in position to defend. TC under fire. Still 0 villagers on food. And yeah, he's trying to go for the berries now. But Saymyname's going to spot this straight away. And just because all the bows are at home, I think Bongo may survive a little while longer. But yeah, Saymyname will spot this instantly. Scout's going to get pulled over. Bongo is probably going to have an internal sigh after, well, maybe he hasn't even noticed, to be honest. He'll notice now, though, for sure. And again, he's got enough villagers to... Oh, it's just GG's. I was going to say he has enough villagers to fight the scout. But the pressure just too high there. GG to Saymyname. Our Earth to Iron champion. Once more proving his worth in the Return of Rome game. And yeah, I think Bongo just felt... Yeah, he just didn't have the food. Just didn't have the food to do anything, and he calls the GG. Like I said, I think that game could have lasted a little bit longer, but realistically, Bongo couldn't really have done anything at that point. Yeah, he had some nice resources tucked away at the back there. I think Axis can still be fine. I think it's just you have to not overcommit into Axis, and you've got to follow up with the Slinger. But yeah, one of the biggest problems with Axeman is the villagers moving faster now. I think it just makes it so much harder for the Axes to actually do damage. But yeah, like I said, GG, well played to Saymyname in the Shang Mirror in this last match. Yeah, 3 upgrades. That's true. It's true. Well, that's the difficult thing about Axeman is like it's such a fine tipping point between the Axes just blowing the game open completely straight away, and but then also on the flip side them not being really useful at all. It's really hard to get that exact balance point correct. Yeah, that was some challenging games, but yeah, still good plays by both games. Like I said, I think maybe on the Gold Mountain game, Bongo probably should have tried to be a little bit more aggressive in that matchup there. But regardless, thank you everyone for joining me for this grand final. I hope you all enjoyed it, because that brings us to the end of the Earth to Iron tournament. Be going for a couple of months now. Like I said, Saymyname taking the crown once again. Not really sure what you mean, Katie, but fair enough. So, I think I'm going to give myself the honours, unless Carver's already done it, of typing in our final result, which will bring our tournament bar to completion. And we had our 5-2 to Saymyname. So Bongo managing to win a couple of maps there, but ultimately Saymyname proving himself once again. There we go. I'm going to click it. I'm going to click it, everyone. End the tournament. So there we go. Saymyname undefeated in the tournament there. And so in the end, our top 4 players. In fact, should we go? We'll go all the way down. We'll go full results. So in joint 13th, we had Alberta, Jesse, Spirit and Fire, who played in our little extra bracket that we had for these players just so they had a few more games. Joint 9th, we had Cambridge and Pume. Cambridge, pretty strong AoE2 player. Hopefully we'll see him again in the future for Return of Rome. And Genie, Popeye with that series against Vertex where he played very well. I had that unfortunate game, I think it was on Coastal, where maybe he could have got away with that Vertex sneaking that villager in there. And then joint 7th place, just slightly above, Katie and Morik. Katie winning out against Genie in that very close best of 5 series, but then losing up against Vertex. I think it was Vertex. And Morik, I think, was taken out by Black Waltz, if I am. So joint 5th, Mini Yeti and Black Waltz. Black Waltz playing very well in this tournament. And showing himself. Obviously, he played very well in the DE tournament as well. And then finally, the last 4 positions, the money making positions, we had Vertex in 4th place, proving me wrong, managing to get that win up against Mini Yeti. Unfortunately, he didn't quite have enough game left over to take on Unrestricted, who beat him for 3rd. And then in our final game, TakeawayBongo taking the 2nd place and Saymyname as the champion there. So well done to all our players and thank you everyone for participated. Oh my god, I'm not showing the right scene. That's just it's Carver's message. But I mean, I listed them all out. So yeah, so like I said, I'll just show them here. So we had Thaya, Spirit, and Jesse and Alberto at the bottom, and then I'll just leave the rest of the standings up for you to see. Yeah, hadn't changed my scene, my bad boys.